Finished? Finished? We are beginning. We are beginning with the next topic that is called as Network Security Protocol. We have now learnt about what are the various threats to a network and in what way a software can be vulnerable, right? Now, once you have understood the problem, let's try to finalize some solution for it. So network security protocol, we can call it as a solution for a threat to a network. Now, we all know that protocol refers to rules. Now, these rules and regulations are existing for the security of a network. We want to secure our network. From whom? Number one, we want to prevent the unauthorized users. All those users who are not authorized to access the data, we need to save our resources from them. Now, every time it is not the user who is causing a problem. Okay, it could be just a service. It could be an application or it could be a device. That user must be sitting very far away from our computer resources, but he can plant some virus. Okay, so that is nothing but a service. It could be an application or it could be a device which is trying to access our data or which is trying to manipulate our data, destroy our data. So the network security protocol is all about preventing all such type of things from happening. How that will be done? This is done with the help of a concept called as cryptography. Now what is this cryptography? Cryptography contains some encryption techniques. There are some encryption techniques. We will be learning what is encryption. I'll take an example. I'll exactly show how the data is converted into that form which is not understandable by anyone. But how the authorized users know to decode it back to the original text and how they can understand. This is exactly called as encryption techniques. So cryptography is all about encrypting the data. Encrypting is the name of a technique. And cryptography is nothing but a form of concept which will be able to convert the data into that form which is not understandable. Now encryption is a technique, but how exactly it will be implemented? The implementation of this technique is done with the help of a program. And program is nothing but an algorithm. So with the help of a special algorithm, we will be able to create a program, a specialized program, and that will be doing encryption. And again, we all know that program is a collection of commands. So we will be using certain mathematical formulas. We will be using certain mathematical formulas so that using this we will be able to do what? Encryption, or we will be able to give effect to cryptography. That is just the introduction of this particular topic that is called as network security protocol. Are you understanding? Okay. We had started with network security protocol. Am I right? We did learn what do we mean by the term encryption. But we are about to start with how exactly this encryption is being done. Now listen. You are all hello, boys. Shh. You are all attending this particular lecture, and I left the lecture at 12 o'clock. Everyone went away to their homes, to wherever they want to go. And after that, suddenly I realized, okay, tomorrow also I want to take this lecture. And suppose you will be coming back in the evening for some other lecture. Okay. So if I leave a note over here, like tomorrow, lecture at 7 a.m. Suppose if I leave a note over here saying tomorrow lecture at 7 a.m. then everyone who is attending the lecture in the evening will come to know that there is a lecture tomorrow at 7 a.m. But I don't want that. I want only those students who have attended the morning lecture. I'll take only those students in the next lecture. But that cannot happen because everyone will be getting this message. So I will be encrypting this message. Encryption of this message means I will convert this data into that format which everyone will not understand. How to do that? I'll be using something called as private key, which is actually a algorithm where I will be adding +2, to this data. Now how to add +2 to this data? It means T plus 2, V, O, P, Q, M, N, O, L, M, N, E, F, G, C, D, E, A, B, C, V. I was just checking whether you are attending or not. Now, I'll be writing this. I've created some text. Now this text will not be understood by anyone. It makes no sense. You cannot read it also. Forget it. And this exactly is called as cipher text. This was the original text. With the process of encryption, also called as encoding, you are creating a cipher text. Now I'll be writing this and I'll go. Evening, those students who had attended the lecture in the morning, they will understand something. Arey, sir has given some secret message. And those who had not attended the morning's lecture, they will say, hey, what is this nonsense? They won't note down, they will ignore this. Those students who know what is this, they will copy this. They will also not understand what exactly it is, but they will copy this. They'll go home. And in the lecture itself, that morning lecture, I must have given something called as a private key, which is obviously the opposite of the, public key, which is opposite of the private key. And now you know what to do. You are supposed to reduce 2 from here. You will be reducing 2 with, so V minus 2 is and this process is called as, also known as, and again we are converting our text into this is nothing but something called as encryption. So encryption is actually a technique with the help of a special algorithm or with the help of a special technique, some special mathematical formula, you will be able to convert your data into that particular data which is not understandable by anyone. It is called as unintelligible data, absurd, not understood by anyone. And again, it would be cracked back to the original text which everyone will understand. This is nothing but something called as encryption. This is the technique of encryption. The key that I am using for encrypting is called as private key, and the key used for decryption is called as public key. So cryptography refers to the science of information security. The data is an organizational asset, and everyone accepts this fact. Data is an organizational asset, and we need to protect these assets. And that can be done with the help of a technique called as encryption, which comes under the head that's called as cryptography. The cryptography is a science which is about securing of the information or the data of our organization. It's also about the data confidentiality. Data confidentiality means the data which I am sending will not be understood by anyone. It will be understood only by the recipient. That is called as maintaining data in a confidential manner. Next thing to be observed in cryptography is a data integrity. Integrity refers that the data should not be tampered, it should not be manipulated, it should not be changed in any sense till it is reaching the recipient. Recipient should receive the data in the same way as it was sent by the originator or by the sender. That is data integrity. Authentication. Authentication means data will be received by only those people who are authorized to send the data. That is called as authentication. And it will go to only those people who are authorized to receive the data. Both the sender and the receiver of the information should be authenticated, authorized. Non-repudiation refers to once you are committing something, you cannot step back. Means once you have sent the data, later on you cannot say that I have not sent this data. And encrypt that cryptography will see to it that non-repudiation don't occur. Once you are sending it, it is like you have sent it, you have approved it, or you stand by what you have done. That is called as non-repudiation. Then we have learned something called as ciphertext. Ciphertext is that text which is actually been transmitted through the telecommunication channel. Even if the hacker is hacking the data, he won't understand what the message is. The process of encoding, the process of encryption is also called as cryptography. And the process of decryption or the process of decoding is also called as cryptanalysis. Okay, because we are analyzing the data which is in encrypted form, and both these things together is referred to a term called as cryptology. You can encrypt the data in both the ways. Hardware encryption is possible, software encryption is possible. Encrypting the data using some code, using some program is called as what? Software encryption. You can also code the data, or you can also protect the data using hardware encryption. Many a times you can lock the device. That's a hardware encryption. Okay. There are some memory cards. When you put that in that card reader is having a lock. Until and unless that lock is not open, you will not be able to read the data. That is also nothing but a hardware way of encryption of the data, or not allowing the data to be exposed. So that is nothing but the concept of cryptography. Understanding? Okay. Fine. After this cryptography, we are moving to the next topic, and that is called as what are the various ways of securing our information? What are the various network security protocols? One very popular security protocol we have learned, and that is in the form of cryptography. Now we are starting with the next part, and that is called as the first one. The first type of network security protocol is called as SSH. It stands for Secure Shell. Secure Shell SH. That is SSH. Now, Secure Shell is actually a program so that you can log on and execute the commands on a remote machine. It is a method of logging on to a remote machine, and not just logging on and accessing the data. It is logging on, accessing the data, plus executing the files on the remote machine. Now this is really very, very dangerous. First of all, you need to access some remote machine. Then you need to run a specific command over there. This requires a lot of security. And for that we have the Secure Shell. This Secure Shell provides a very strong authentication. Means whenever is logging on to that particular remote access machine, First, you are required to prove yourself. Required to prove yourself means you need to have the right identity. Hey, hello, wait for some time. We are required to follow certain girls. Close the doors. Don't allow anyone. Satish, close it. Okay. I was referring to something called as secure shell. Strong authentication refers to whenever a third party is trying to access that particular remote machine, there will be a strong authentication. Only authorized users will be allowed to access that remote machine. The authentication is so strong that not just the identity is checked, but the commands which are given by that third party are also checked. So here we are not just checking for identity, we are also checking for the commands that are being given by the third party. This is called as securing the command inside a secure shell. And whatever type of data transmission is being done in this secure shell, it is totally encrypted. Whatever data goes through the remote machine, whatever data is given by that remote machine, each and everything is being encrypted. That is called as a secure shell. After this secure shell, we are moving to the next one, and that is called as SFTP. Now, everyone knows what is FTP. You should know what is FTP. It's a file transfer protocol. Whenever the files are being transferred, whenever you are downloading something, audio, video, text, or some image, that comes to you through this FTP. An entire file is being transferred. So we have certain rules and regulations for transferring an entire file. But virus can also come, or a threat can also occur through these files. So the FTP also is required to be secured, and for that we have SFTP, Secured File Transfer Protocol. Now, this is that particular protocol which is necessary for accessing and managing the files on a remote machine. Remote machine is that machine which is far away from us. If you want to access some file, if you want to download or bring that file to your computer, then this will be done with the help of a Secured File Transfer Protocol. Here in a SFTP, sending the data to the remote machine and getting the files from the remote machine, both is being done in an encrypted form. Secure shell will be giving the commands and taking the appropriate output. But FTP is about sending a request for a file and getting that entire file on our machine is looked after by FTP. And when you are securing it with the process of encryption, the command given to FTP is encrypted. The file which has been downloaded from an FTP is also encrypted. That is referred to as Secured File Transfer Protocol. After that, we are moving to the next one, that is called as HTTPS. Everyone knows what is HTTP. It is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It is actually the communication between the client and a server. Now, many a times when a client and server are interacting with each other, the data transmission is open. The data which is being transmitted is going in a normal format. Like for example, you are ordering something on Flipkart. You are opening that Flipkart web page. That is actually the client. You are giving what exactly you want, then the quantity and your name, address, phone number, email address, all these things are being given. So now this data is passing to the Flipkart server. So there is a communication between the client and the server. With the help of HTTPS, this entire transmission will be done in a encrypted format. And here the encryption is of higher level. We require a short-term session key is been given for encryption. Short-term session key means, suppose you have transferred name. The name is been transferred. But for that, the encryption key will be different. Suppose we are using 5. Okay. Next time, whenever you are sending address, now this address will not be encrypted with 5. It will be some another number. So every patch of data that you are transferring is encrypted in a different style, in a different format. So even if the hacker comes to know about one particular private key, he will not be able to use the same for other transmission. So in a hypertext transfer protocol, which is in a secured manner, we have a short-term session key for encryption. And this key will be used for a small patch of data which is required to be encrypted. And last but not the least is called as secured socket layer. This is exclusively used for transferring the data in an encrypted format where some sensitive data is being transferred. Like for example, you are registering with some government offices. Your name, address, password, name, address, email address, all these things are given. Now this is not sensitive. When you give your phone number, it is a sensitive information. When you give your image, it is a sensitive information. When you give your credit card number, debit card number, whenever you are transferring some financial transaction over the internet, all these things are what? Sensitive information. And this sensitive information can be exchanged online with the help of secured socket layer. Here, the data is not encrypted. Here, the channel through which you are transmitting the data, directly that channel is only encrypted. So it is now not a channel, but it is now called as a tunnel through which the data can pass safely. So here we are having a secure channel. All your online transactions where you are required to give your debit card, credit card number, okay, becomes a very sensitive information. Just imagine that someone is capturing your credit card number. He will be doing all the shopping and you will be paying the bills. Okay, fine, what I'll lose? I'll lose money. But if the same thing is used by some terrorist organization and the money which has been transferred from your account and that is being used for some terrorism purpose, don't you think you will feel guilty that my money was used behind this bomb blast? Okay, so securing your sensitive information, securing all your online transaction is the responsibility of secured socket layer. Understanding? So this is nothing but your network security protocol. You are supposed to start with cryptography if I am not wrong? Yes, sir. Okay. Finished? It's here only. Finished? Early morning today, when we started with the lecture, I started with the topic of network topologies, right? I taught you 4 different topologies. We started with, I forgot to mention that this is the first topology. Thanks to the engineer in the background, he pointed out this mistake, sir, you didn't wrote that bus topology. So it was So I explained the entire concept, but I forgot to tell the name of this topology. So don't get confused that this is network topology. Network topology is a topic. This is bus, this is ring, this is star, and this is okay, listen. We are now starting. Hello. Are you with me? Are you listening to me? Should I start with a new topic? Yeah. Hello, don't fight. We are now beginning. Acha, listen. Story now, no story. All stories finished. Would you hear a story in Hindi? I will narrate you one story. But after I finish that story, will you concentrate? Yes, sir. Are you sure? Yes, sir. You should keep your word up. Yes, sir. Okay, listen. Keep quiet. Later on, I will spend time to translate it in English. Don't worry. But you should promise me after I finish the story, you should concentrate hard. Okay? Listen. एक था राजा, एक थी रानी, दोनों मर गए, खत्म कहानी. Okay, चलो. There was a king, there was a queen. Both died. End of the story. We have very less time with us. Today's lecture and only two more lectures. Today is Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, only 2 more lectures will be. And still 2 chapters to be completed. But don't worry, now these chapters are based on the first and second chapter. So I'll be rushing through these chapters. I'll be just noting down, I'll be just explaining you the point, and then we'll be able to finish off with the syllabus. Don't worry about it. But don't waste the time which is available. That section, please. Okay. We are now moving with network security techniques. This is what is being exactly implemented for maintaining security. We learnt about the concepts. We learnt about the protocols. Concept is actually not a technique. It is just a thing to be implemented. It is just a thing which will give you a direction, which will give you a better logical clarity of what you want to do. Protocols refers to the rules and regulations. But actually speaking, it is the techniques which will be implemented on the system to protect your system. Okay? The first one which we are learning is called as firewall. Now listen, what is a firewall? Let's assume that we have Okay, so we are talking about something called as network security technique. The first type of technique is called as firewall. Now, what is a firewall? Let's say we have a server, and then there are various nodes which are connected with this server. Like for example, we'll be having N1, then one N2 and N3 and one more N4. Okay, we are having N1, N2, N3 and N4. Now this is the network. As we are having this network, as we are owning this network, there are many more other networks around it, like somewhat in this way, saving time. Okay, hello. Shh. There are many more networks around this network, and these surrounding networks could pose a threat to our organizational network, where our data is being stored, where our resources are being stored. So how will you protect your own network? And this can be done with the help of something called as firewall. So firewall is basically a combination of hardware, software and a router. It's a combination of hardware, software and router. Okay, firewall. But finish, let me first construct the wall. Now listen. This particular firewall will be connected to the server, and as soon as it is connected to the server, it will create a sort of a invisible shield around our network, and that's how our network will be protected. But how the network will be protected, that we are seeing. Let's say N1 is trying to access some resource. N1 is typing an address. He wants a web page of money control. So he's typing www.moneycontrol.com. This request will go to the server and will come to the firewall. As soon as it comes to the firewall, firewall will say, stop. You cannot go outside. It will ask that request to wait over there. Then it will consult the server. Hey server, this N1 wants moneycontrol.com. What should I do? Server will say, "Arey, no problem. Anyways, our company is a company for finding or doing research on shares. So that N1 might be requiring some data from about a specific company. So money control, no problem." And then the firewall will say, "Okay, now you can go." So this particular data will go to that particular server, and from there you will get a reply, na? Your request will be served, na? Firewall will say, stop, you cannot go inside. But there will be a reference entry. The request has been sent, so obviously that particular request will be getting a reply, and that reply will be allowed, and it goes to N1. Okay, so we are keeping a check on the insiders. Now N4 is typing address www.pappuyar.com. Pappuyar.com, this is a site where you will get songs of films. Now this is not allowed by the organization. So that particular request is going over here. Firewall will say, stop, you cannot go outside. Wait, it is consulting the server. Hey, whether pappuyar.com is allowed. Now server becomes very angry. Pappuyar, cut his connection. So this particular request will not go out. So you cannot send the information outside the network. This is the first part, keeping a check on insiders. Now, there is some request coming from here. Okay. Now this particular request wants to meet N3. So this is an outsider. Firewall will say stop. You cannot go inside. It is consulting the server. This particular IP address, there is some message, there is some request. It wants to meet N3. Server will check. No problem. This is our client. Okay. He is N3's client rather. No problem. Send the request. Then that request will be allowed inside. It goes to N3. N3 replies for it. It comes over here. Firewall will say stop. But there is a reference entry. This is just the return of a request, and then the data is allowed to go out and it reaches the right destination. Now if you see over here, this is somewhat bit different network. Okay, just looking different, nothing more than that. Let's say it is from some enemy country, and there is, danger. And it is coming from some other source. Now firewall will say, stop, you cannot go inside. It is consulting the server. There is particular request from this particular IP address. Server says, no, don't allow it. It's a very dangerous site. Okay, it might be virus, it might harm our network, and that particular request is stopped there and there itself. This is how firewall is securing our network. The network that is been secured is called as intranet. Okay, and those networks which form a network which is beyond or which is outside the intranet is called as extranet. And when all this, when the extranet and all the intranets, when they come together, it forms internet. And this is nothing but the first type of network security technique called as firewall. Are you understanding? Okay, after this firewall, we are moving to the next one, and that is called as message authentication. Now let's try to understand the next part, that is called as message authentication. By this point of time, you know that authentication is keeping a check. Okay, so here message authentication will be first verifying the sender, whether the sender of the message is the authorized person to send the data. If yes, then we are checking for data integrity. Data integrity refers to that the data is not tampered, the data is not manipulated, it is not changed, it is the same as it was being sent. That has been done by message authentication, and then that particular data can be received by the recipient. So we can say that this particular message authentication provides all the internet security rules and regulations. All the policies and procedures of internet security is been followed by message authentication. Next is called as site blocking. Now this is a software which is normally used by corporates for blocking some unwanted sites. While working in a company, obviously everyone should be dedicated to work, but there are few people who will access YouTube. Okay, then they will be accessing different videos which are not to be seen when you are working with the company. They'll be watching movies. I'm getting bored. I'm watching a movie. Dil chahta hai. Okay, so I'll watch all these things, but that is not been permitted. So the organization gives strict, clear-cut instructions that all these sites should be banned. Many organizations have also banned Facebook. Understanding? So this is called as site blocking, and this is done by a software which is available that is called as NetNanny. You are supposed to give a list of websites, and those websites will be blocked. You cannot access that particular website. So it's a software to restrict certain sites. Then the next thing is log activities. Log activities means what? It will create a list. Log is nothing but a report. It will create a report that which user had visited which particular site. So say many times what it happens is when you are working with your, whenever you are working with a regular site, some advertisements pop up in between. That is also noted. So the user can say that I never intended to open that site. It actually popped up. Then that particular site should stay only for say 5 seconds, 10 seconds. If this log activity is showing that a particular person was there for 2 hours, then it cannot be just it cannot be a pop-up then. It will be intentional. So that is called as the log activities. What sites were being accessed. And it also shows the time spent on that particular site. Each and every minute report of every user, what site he accessed, for how much time he was available on that particular site, all details goes to the top level management. And that is a software, or that is a technique called as site blocking. Next is called as IDS technology. IDS technology is intrusion detection system. It is a intrusion detection system. What is intrusion? Intrusion means an illegal person entering inside our premises, or a person entering illegally inside our premises. We need to detect this. How that will be done? That will be done with the help of IDS technology. It stands for Intrusion Detection System. It's a combination of hardware and software application. Both the hardware and software application should work in coordination with each other. The advantage or the responsibility of this particular technology is it is monitoring the existing system for any malicious activity. Malicious activity refers to some destructive activity. Whether any possible destructive activity is being monitored. If it is monitoring, it will stop it, it will check it. And it is also reporting to the management station whether any such activity was reported. Management station means the person who is authorized to view all this data. That is called as IDS technology. So these are nothing but the 4 different network security techniques. Actually, if you check the notes, if you go through the module, network security technique is only one topic. Inside that 4 points, and that last 4th point there are sub points. Under that there are points. Then student gets confused. What exactly to study and what to remember, what not to remember. So what I have done is I have splitted the question itself. Main security techniques, 4 points. Then what are the techniques under IDS technology? Again 4 points. So student can remember it. These are 4 points. If a 10-mark question is asked, we are supposed to write this also. If a 4-mark question is asked, we are supposed to write this. If a question is asked on IDS technology, don't write this, write this. Understanding? Okay? So let's start with the various IDS technology. The first one in this is called as the Network Intrusion Detection System, abbreviated as NID. Now listen, what is this? When a packet enters inside the network, this system starts. It will check the contents of the packet, and if it finds anything malicious, it will stop that packet from entering or from going inside the host or the node. It's very much like a sniffer dog. Okay, at international airports, when people come in from other country, sniffer dogs are waiting there and they sniffs every bag for narcotics. It has been done for narcotics. In the same way, this particular technology is also called as packet sniffers. It is sniffing every packet for any malicious content or activity. That's called as packet sniffers. Now, if anything found suspicious, it will intercept the packet and it will check the contents of the packet before it reaches its destination, before it reaches the node or before it reaches a particular server. So to find out malicious event, this is a very good technology. Next is called as host-based intrusion detection system, that is HID. Many a times some intelligent police officers, what they do is, they know that this person is not the right person. He is trying to do something which is dangerous, but they will not catch hold of that person immediately. They'll keep a watch on that person. They'll pretend that they know nothing and they will be following it. Where he is going, to whom he is meeting, to which group he belongs, what is their master plan. By doing this, they are able to extract more data. They are able to extract maybe some big conspiracy. On the same lines, we have this particular host-based intrusion detection system, that is HID. What it will be doing is, it will be monitoring the packets. It will be detecting all the packets. But it will respond only after that particular packet has attacked the host. Many a times you might have some suspicious packet, but they won't create any problem. So allow them to go. If any particular activity is reported by the host, a virus-like activity, if it is a threat to the organization, then and then only they'll be taking a action. Not when the data is being transferred, only when it infects. Now such type of detection systems is applicable for internal threats. Now the packet is not coming from outside. You are just supposed to check the host, not while it is traveling. That is called as what? Host-based intrusion detection system, HID. Next one is called as hybrid intrusion detection system, which I need not teach. It is the combination of above two. Okay, it will be checking the packet and it will be also checking the host. And the last one is called as network node intrusion detection system, NNID. What it will be doing is, it will be first sniffing the packet. It is finding that this packet is malicious. Then it will be following it. It will allow that packet to reach the particular host or node, allow that packet to attack, and then it will be taking the action. Understanding? And that is called as the network node intrusion detection system, NNID. With this, I have finished off with network security. All the subtopics of network security is been completed after network security techniques and the various IDS technology. Understanding? So, you can begin by the diagram of firewall.